Unboxing PMBOK7, a detailed overview of the Project Management Body of Knowledge version 7. We all know that traditionally we used to say that projects are successful if they are completed within the agreed upon time, cost, and met the scope. Now a new parameter is getting added to the success criteria of projects in the form of value. So organizations are starting projects to achieve tangible benefits out of it by way of products or services, and from that they expect a return on investment, and with this as the intent, organizations start projects. There are many projects who got completed within time, within cost, and met the scope, still fail to achieve the business case or the forecasted or the predicted value from the project. So now the new success criteria of the project involve timely completion, within budget completion, meeting the scope, as well as delivering the intended value of the project. So the project manager, successful project managers of the future need to focus not just on the time, cost, and scope, but they need to focus on the value delivery by the product of the project to the end users and to the owner of the product. That means the project manager's focus should be more on delivering value, and he or she should take the project through the uncertainties that matters, which is nothing but the risk, known risk, unknown risk, known unknowns, all those things that will happen throughout the execution or plan, throughout the life cycle of the project. So that is the typical project manager's role envisaged by PMBOK7. So it is not blind focus on time, cost, and scope, because you can always delegate it. The project manager's role gets slightly elevated, and the primary focus is on delivering value by managing the complexity throughout the planning and execution part of the project. Now, this is something which I really liked about the new PMBOK. They have segregated the roles of a project manager and the project management team and the project team. So we have the project manager, then we have the project management team and the project team. The project manager primarily is accountable for the success and failure of the project. So that means he has to focus on the value delivery, stakeholder management, managing the risk, which are internal as well as external. And when we say risk, it is about positive risk and the negative risk. If there are major positive risk, the project manager should leverage them and then maximize the value delivered to the owners and end users. So that will be the focal point of the project manager, and is accountable for the success and failure of the project. Then we have the project management team. Here we are talking about the site engineers, the team leaders, the architects, then we have the project controllers, risk managers. All those guys will be part of the project management team. And then we have the project team who actually converts the requirements into the scope. The project team is the technical team who really does the work of the project. So yeah, if you get into a project, okay, now we know that there can be a project controller who will help the project manager in managing the return on investment, monitoring, tracking the cost part. Risk managers monitoring and tracking the risk part of it. Communications manager taking care of the communications. Procurement manager taking care of the procurement and quality managers taking care of quality, and risk managers taking care of the risk part of it. All these guys form part of the project management team, and they all help the project manager to maximize the value to the stakeholders. So project manager's role is slightly above this project management team's role. Is more of a visionary, it's more strategic, whereas the project management team's role is more tactical. So that is one fundamental difference in the PMBOK7. Then another point, see now I don't have a slide on it. Now if you really look at the PMBOK till version 6, it was all fine, 10 knowledge areas, the 5 process groups, but then it was more oriented towards predictive project management styles. Now PMBOK7 is an attempt to come out with a project management body of knowledge which is applicable to both predictive and adaptive styles. That means the same project management body of knowledge should hold good for product development, for IT project, for EPC project, and pure construction project. So irrespective of the type of the project, the architects of PMBOK7 expect PMBOK7 to cater to the needs of all these types of projects. So they've made it more generic in nature. So at the top of the PMBOK7 is the set of values which the project managers and the management teams are supposed to adhere to. Then we have a set of project management principles. Then we have project performance domains, and then we have tailoring guidelines. And below all these things comes the models, methods, and artifacts. Ultimately, what is project management body of knowledge? It is a collection of best practices. So these methods, models, methods, and artifacts will give you a universal set of best practices that can be tailored and used for any type of project. So the major bulk of the project management body of knowledge is the models, methods, and artifacts, and then we have these things are mapped to the performance domains, and we are supposed to execute the performance domains based on the tailoring, which will make them appropriate for the project under consideration. And while doing all these things, we are supposed to adhere to the principles and values of professional project management. If you really look at what happens to the PMBOK 6 or the contents of project management body of knowledge from version 1 to version 6, what happens to that? In my view, the whole thing goes into models, methods, and artifacts. They are added here. The values are new. Most of the values are imbibed from the professional ethics of project managers, which was there even before. Principles are something new, 12 principles, and the performance domains are also something very, very new. The PMBOK7, as already discussed, the PMBOK7 comprises of 4 values, 12 principles, 8 project performance domains, tailoring guidelines, and a section on models, methods, and artifacts. And here we have the 4 values. The 4 values are responsibility, respect, fairness, and honesty. So as project managers, we are supposed to be responsible for the success and failure of the project. We should have self-respect and mutual respect, and we should be fair in all our transactions, and we should be honest in our approach to the project, or in all our transactions we should be honest. So these are the 4 values of professional project management. Then we have the 12 project management principles. They are stewardship, team, stakeholders, value, systems thinking, leadership, tailoring, quality, complexity, risk, adaptability and resiliency, and the change management. I'll repeat again, the 12 project management principles are stewardship, team, stakeholders, value, systems thinking, leadership, tailoring, quality, complexity, risk, adaptability and resiliency, and change. Now, the first principle, stewardship. So be a diligent and respectful and caring steward. That means we should act responsibly, we should demonstrate integrity, we should demonstrate care, trustworthiness, compliance, commitment to the financial, social, and environmental impact of the project they support. So we must act diligently. Then the team. Create a collaborative project team environment comprising of collaborative team environment, team agreements, organizational structures for project execution, processes for effective teaming, and clarity of roles and responsibilities, facilitating individual and team learning, alignment with organizational culture, and optimal contributions to deliver desired outcomes. So as project managers, we are supposed to create highly collaborative project team environments in which project teams can thrive. Then stakeholders. As project managers, we should be able to effectively engage with stakeholders. So engage stakeholders proactively by having consensus on the scope and requirements, then schedule, cost, project team, plans, outcomes. And this involves dealing with multiple cultures, benefits realization, managing risk, managing quality, and the definition and implementation of success criteria, and ultimately achieving them. This definition of success criteria is very, very important because there should be concurrence on these definitions by all stakeholders so that the stakeholder expectations can be managed very well. Then the value part. So focus, as project managers, we should focus on value, evaluation and alignment to business objectives, business need, project justification, and business strategy. As discussed or as mentioned before, project organizations start project to achieve their business goals, and the project support their business strategies. So every stakeholder expect a tangible result out of these projects. So as project managers, we should ensure that the projects deliver the desired values, maybe incrementally or at the end of the project or within the payback period. It's all, it all depends on the project management approach which is agreed upon. Then comes systems thinking, because projects operate in a very complex environment. So as project managers, one should recognize, evaluate, and respond to system interactions, that is systems thinking. Because sometimes your project can be part of a program, and that program can be part of a portfolio. So a slippage in your project can impact the achievement of the program milestones and the portfolio milestones. Or you may complete a lot of things on time, but now an associated project within the program is getting delayed, and because of that the program's objectives may be affected even if you complete all the milestones within time within your project. So everything is connected. If you're able to view, as project managers, one should be able to view it as a system with multiple components all working in tandem to deliver the desired value within the agreed upon time and cost. A project is a system of interdependent systems, and holistic view and big picture is very, very important to be successful as project managers. A challenging of assumptions and mental models is very, very important because based on our past experiences, we may have some notions like, when the moment somebody has more number of years experience, he is better than a person who has lesser number of years of experience. That is something commonly believed. But now you see people with lesser experience who are really brilliant. They can be much, much better than more experienced people also. So sometimes these mental models have to be challenged. Or if we say that if a project is delayed schedule wise, then it will impact the cost also. That is a mental model. There can be exceptions to it. It can be challenged. So challenging assumptions and mental models is very important part of systems thinking, and the system is very dynamic, and the moment you understand how the building blocks of a project, both internal and external, then that will help the project managers to be proactive in nature. Sorry. Then comes leadership. As project managers, one should be able to demonstrate leadership behaviors throughout the project. Primarily focus on the project, vision, consensus, and ability to overcome obstacles, negotiation, conflict resolution, communication, coaching and mentoring, appreciation and rewards, empathy, self-awareness, adapting to change, fail fast, and then learn from the failures and correct it. And then one has to be a role model for others to emulate. Then comes tailoring, because every process need not be followed in every project. So you tailor your project based on the context of the project. Projects are unique. Design the development approach. Development approach include project objectives, stakeholders, governance, and the environment. You need not follow every process. Please focus on just enough processes. Then build quality into processes and deliverables. So it is about satisfying stakeholders' expectations, meeting project and product requirements, meeting acceptance criteria of deliverables, correct processes, working effectively. Different dimensions of quality are performance, conformity, reliability, resilience, satisfaction, uniformity, efficiency, and sustainability. Here it's all about quality as a way of life, building quality into the product of the project from the planning phase till the closing phase. So it is not about testing quality into the product. It is about building quality from the beginning till the construction or till the completion of construction. So it is about proactive facilitation of quality into the product. Then navigating complexity, because the project environment is very complex. So as discussed before, it is not only just completing the work of the project, it is about realizing the benefits out of the project. So a lot of complexities can arise from the initiation of the project till realizing the benefits of the project. So one has to continuously evaluate and navigate project complexity, human behavior, system behavior, uncertainty and ambiguity, and technological innovation. Now, this pandemic situation itself, I don't know how many projects pertaining to travel and tourism might have lost its context. So that's why a continuous evaluation and navigation of this complexity is very much important. Then the risk, so optimizes risk responses. So it is about continuous evaluation of risk, both internal risk, external risk, positive risk, negative risk, throughout the execution of the project, and then addressing them proactively. That is very, very important for the successful execution of the project. Then adaptability and resiliency. So embrace adaptability and resiliency. Adaptability is ability to respond to changing conditions. Resiliency is ability to absorb impacts and to recover quickly. So focus on outcomes rather than outputs. Shorter feedback loops, continuous learning, regular inspection and adaptation is important. Transparent planning with the involvement of key stakeholders is very, very important. If found suitable, small-scale prototyping will help to address the risk, and maintaining a constant velocity and stability throughout the project life cycle is important. Then change, that is enable change to achieve the envisioned future state. So structured approach to change management, because very often project teams consider change as a necessary evil. So here we are talking about proactively welcoming changes even late in the project, if that change is going to help to maximize the returns from the project for the benefit of the owner and the end users of the product of the project. So with this, we have completed the 12 project management principles, and I'll repeat them once again. The 12 project management principles are stewardship, team, stakeholders, value, systems thinking, leadership, tailoring, quality, complexity, risk, adaptability and resiliency, and change. Then comes the, so we discussed about the values, then we discussed about the principles. Now we are getting into the performance domains. So 4 values, 12 principles, and 8 performance domains. These 8 performance domains comprises of stakeholders, team, development approach and life cycle, then planning, project work, delivery, measurement, and managing uncertainty. If you really look at it, and then you will see a kind of a PDCA pattern behind it. Now identifying the stakeholders is the first thing. Then thinking about the team, what type of team you will have, that is important. Then deciding on the development approach and life cycle is important. Then get into the detailed planning for the project. So stakeholders, team, development approach and life cycle and planning can be the planning part of the PDCA cycle. Then project work, delivery can be part of the do part of their plan, do, check, act, and measurement is the part of check, and taking action and managing uncertainty is also check and act part of it. So you can see patterns of PDCA under these 8 project performance domains. I'll repeat the 8 project performance domains again. Stakeholders management is a domain, team management is a domain, development approach and life cycle is a domain, project planning is a domain, project work or execution is a domain, delivery is a domain, measurement is a domain, and uncertainty or managing uncertainty is a project domain. Because as project managers, one should be well versed in these domains. Only then project delivery or maximizing the value or the value delivery is possible. That is the intent. The first performance domain, stakeholders. It's about nurturing good relationship with stakeholder agreement with project objectives, and managing stakeholder impacts on project outcomes. Then we have team, activities and functions associated with project teams, shared ownership, high performance team, applicable leadership and other interpersonal skills demonstrated by all team members. So this is about recruiting, training, nurturing, and building a capable team who by themselves will imbibe the values of the project and act as leaders of within the project. Then development approach and life cycle. It involves activities and functions associated with the development approach. Cadence is nothing but the rigor of following all these things, and life cycle phases of the project. Development approaches that are consistent with project deliverables. A project life cycle consisting of phases that helps to deliver value on time with consistency. Here when we talk about development approach and life cycles, it is about the first key decision is whether we should follow predictive project management approaches, or whether we should follow agile project management approaches, or whether we should follow a hybrid project management approaches. And even when it is hybrid, which all phases of the project will be agile, which all phases will be predictive, or will we have both agile and predictive in all phases of the project. So this is about tailoring the development approach and life cycle of the project. So we need to understand the various types or various frameworks so that we can choose the best or mix and match and come out with the best for the project. Then planning, activities and functions associated with the project organization and coordination necessary for delivering project deliverables and outcomes. So here it is about defining the scope or breakdown structure, estimation, then activity definition, sequencing, scheduling. Everything comes under planning. Then project work, activities and functions associated with establishing project processes, managing physical resources and fostering a learning environment, effective project performance, appropriate project processes, efficient management of physical resources, effective management of procurements, improved team capability. So here it is all about implementing or executing the project as per the project management framework and the schedules developed for the project. Then delivery, activities and functions associated with delivering the scope with quality. That involves requirements, work breakdown structure, definition of done, quality, and cost of quality. Then measurement. As project managers, we should be well versed with the various forms of measurements. It's about assessing project performance and taking appropriate actions. Example, metrics, baselines, dashboards, leading indicators, lagging indicators, earned value management, cost benefit ratio, return on investment, net present value, net promoter score, mood chart, morale, turnover, information radiators, burn down and burn up charts, and Kanban board. Then uncertainty, that is activities and functions associated with the risk and uncertainty. It's about gathering information, preparing for multiple outcomes. SE-based design, build-in resilience, progressive elaboration, experiments, prototypes, threats, opportunities, strategies, risk response, and contingencies. This is about navigating complexities by managing uncertainties that can arise during the project. So we discussed about the 4 values, 12 principles, 8 performance domains, and then the next section in PMBOK7 is the tailoring part. What to tailor? It involves development approach, processes, type of engagement with the stakeholders, the tools and techniques, tools, methods, and artifacts to be used within the project. So all these things need to be tailored to match the requirements or the context of the project at hand. Tailoring, the steps are: you select the initial approach. You can decide whether you should follow a waterfall kind of a model, or a predictive model, or an adaptive model, or a blended model, or a hybrid model. Select the initial approach, then tailor it for the organization, because the organization in which the project has to be executed, they may have their own guidelines. So take a overall approach and then tailor it to suit the organization's policies, procedures, and guidelines. Then you tailor it for the project and implement ongoing improvement to the processes and templates and engagement models and methods and artifacts and the development approach itself. Now let us discuss about models, methods, and artifacts. The whole chunk of PMBOK6 goes into models, methods, and artifacts. So some of the models which we use in project management are situational leadership, OSCAR model, communication models, Gulf of execution and evaluation, hygiene and motivational factors, intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation, theory of needs, theory X, theory Y, and theory Z, managing change in organizations, ADKAR model, the 8-step process for leading change, Virginia Satir change model, transition model, Sinefin framework, Stacy matrix, Tuckman ladder, Drexler-Sibet team performance model, conflict model, negotiation models, planning, Barry and Bohm, process groups, the salience model. When we say process group, here we are talking about initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closing, because that is also a model. So if you want to choose that model for project execution, you can choose that as well. Then methods. So data gathering and analysis methods like alternatives analysis, assumption and constraint analysis, benchmarking, business justification analysis methods, checklist, cost of quality, decision tree analysis, earned value analysis, expected monetary value, forecast, influence diagrams, life cycle assessment, make or buy analysis, probability and impact matrix, process analysis, regression analysis, reserve analysis, root cause analysis, sensitivity analysis, simulations, stakeholder analysis, SWOT analysis, trend analysis, variance analysis, what if scenario analysis. So these things comes under data and gathering analysis methods. Then we have estimating methods like affinity grouping, analogous estimation, function point estimation, multi-point estimation, parametric, relative, single point, story point, and wideband Delphi. Then meeting and events, backlog refinement meetings, bidder conferences, change control board meetings, daily stand-up meetings, iteration planning meetings, iteration review meetings, kickoff meetings, lessons learned meetings, planning meetings, project closeout meetings, project review meetings, release planning meetings, retrospective meetings, risk review meetings, status meetings, and steering committee meetings. So as project managers, we should be well versed with these kind of methods, models, methods, and artifacts so that we can utilize them well during the project. Then other methods like impact mapping, modeling, net promoter score, prioritization schema, and time box. So these are the models, methods, and the artifacts. So we discussed about the 4 values, the 12 principles, the 8 performance domains, and we discussed a little bit about tailoring, and we discussed about the models, methods, and artifacts. So in the future, I'll be coming out with detailed lessons or videos on different components of this project management body of knowledge version 7. So our intent of this video lesson was to explain the structure, because everything starts with the value, then the principles, then the performance domains, then the tailoring guidelines. Then at the base we have the models, methods, and artifacts which are mapped to the performance domains. So the mapping and all those things I'll be explaining in the subsequent videos. So the intent of this video was to give you an orientation to a detailed orientation to the structure of PMBOK. Now if you go through the PMBOK, it will be very, very easy for you. The PMBOK7 is only 270 pages. Out of that, maybe the crux of PMBOK can be around 200 pages. And if you already know PMBOK6, PMBOK6 and predictive and agile, then PMBOK7 is a cakewalk. There is nothing to worry about it. Then let us take a look at the artifacts. We have the hierarchy charts, organizational breakdown structure, product breakdown structure, resource breakdown structure, risk breakdown structure, work breakdown structure. Then we have baselines of budget, milestone, schedule, performance, measurement baseline, project schedule baseline. Then visual data and information like affinity diagrams, burn down and burn up charts, cause and effect diagrams, cumulative flow diagrams, communications management plans, cycle time charts, dashboards, flow charts, Gantt charts, histograms, information radiators, lead time chart, prioritization matrix, project schedule network diagrams, requirements traceability matrix, responsibility assignment matrix or RAM, scatter diagrams, S-curve, stakeholder engagement assessment matrix, story maps, throughput chart, use case, value stream map, velocity chart. Then the reports like quality report, risk report, status report, agreements and contracts like fixed price, cost reimbursable, time and material, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, IDIQ, and other agreements. Other artifacts like activity list, bid documents, metrics, project calendars, requirements documentation, project team charter, and the user stories. So that's it. So we have the values, the principles, the performance domains, the tailoring guidelines, and the models, methods, and artifacts. So this is how the PMBOK7 is organized. And as discussed before, the focus is on value delivery, and this is a universal body of knowledge which will help to cater to any sort of project with the proper tailoring. Thank you very much.